Hi family, it's Kunimo. Today I'm in my daughter's house and she's going to make biscuits because her biscuit is a lot better than mine. Okay, here she is.
Hi guys! So today I'm going to make just regular buttermilk biscuits, but they're going to be flaky and buttery and delicious. I'm doubling the recipe today, but you can half it if you don't need as many. If you double the recipe, you're going to get about 20 biscuits, but trust me, they'll be gone in a flash. So the ingredients you need is 3½ cups of flour, 2 sticks of butter cubed, 4½ teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1½ tablespoons of salt, and ½ a tablespoon of baking soda, and also 1½ cups of buttermilk and a biscuit cutter. You also have to preheat your oven to 500 degrees, but you're going to lower it to 450 when we put the biscuits in the oven. I'm going to teach you now how to cut the butter into cubes because this is a very important part of making your biscuits really light and flaky. So take your stick of butter, cut it into thirds like this, and then lay them flat down and cut each piece into thirds again. And you want the butter to be kind of big because you need the steam from the butter to make the biscuits really nice and flaky. Sorry, that's my daughter in the background, my kitchen helper. So cut each piece into thirds and then flip them all over. And then just cut them into maybe like 1/2-inch dice. Okay? And just cut them all around. And after you cut the butter, make sure you put it back in the fridge because when you make biscuits, your ingredients have to be really, really cold. So while you mix the flour and the other dry ingredients, you can just put the butter and the buttermilk in the fridge. Do that right now. Okay. Now, we're going to mix the dry ingredients. So we're going to put the flour in the bowl. We're going to add the sugar, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And I'm going to have my assistant, my sous chef, whisk the ingredients together. So make sure you whisk it all really well so all the dry ingredients get really incorporated. You don't have to sift or anything, but just whisk is important.
I like to whisk.
Okay, now we whisked all the dry ingredients together and then we're going to add the butter. One important thing about when you add the butter, most biscuits recipe tell you to process or squish the butter into the flour so it's the size of peas. But in this recipe, all you do is coat the butter pieces with the flour. Don't press them or use a pastry cutter. Just use your fingers and break up the little pieces so that each individual butter cube is coated in flour like this. And that's important because when the hot oven hits the butter and it releases the steam, that's what's going to make the flaky biscuits. So just take your time, make sure each butter piece is coated with flour.
It's a little bit yellow.
Looks a little bit yellow.
Yeah.
And just make sure that everything is nice and coated. Make sure there are no like huge clumps of butter in there. Okay, now I have all of my butter coated with the flour, and then we're going to add the buttermilk. Go ahead, add it in. And as you add the buttermilk, just stir with the wooden spoon so that the flour slowly absorbs the buttermilk. It's going to seem like you don't have enough because there's so much flour, but as you mix it, the flour is going to continue to absorb the buttermilk, so then you will end up with enough.
How much the butter spilled out?
Okay, so I've mixed up all of the biscuit dough, and at the end I usually use my hands to get, the bits of flour and butter that didn't get mixed in at the bottom of the bowl, just to make everything nicely incorporated and so that you don't have like flour crumbs at the bottom of the bowl. It's a messy and sticky job, but like my daughter says, baking is messy, but delicious. And she's putting bunny ears on me right now. Alright, now I'm gonna wash my hands.
Yummy.
Okay, now that my biscuit dough is all nicely mixed, we're gonna roll it out. Now, I'm gonna teach you a very super secret method of keeping your counter really clean. This is something I learned from my mom, which shows that you can learn things from your parents even though you are grown. So take your saran wrap and stick it onto your work surface. Okay, you should put maybe 2 pieces because rolling out biscuit dough does get messy. Okay, so after you have your work surface all covered with the saran, dust it with some flour. So I'll have my sous chef help me do that. So just put like a generous coating of flour onto your work surface. And this is why you put the saran wrap, so that you don't have to wipe all the flour off at the end. So we're gonna put our biscuit dough onto the board, and you see it's really nice and incorporated all the ingredients. You can still see the chunks of butter in the dough, which is important. And this is where this technique that I'm going to show you is what makes the biscuits really fluffy and flaky, so you can see all the layers. Most traditional biscuit recipes just tell you to roll it out at this stage, but this recipe is you fold the dough like an envelope. Basically, it's kind of like a croissant making technique, like that. You turn it, you fold the top down and the bottom up, like you're folding an envelope. And you do that 3 times. And now we're gonna roll the dough. So take your rolling pin and just push it back and forth. Okay, and then turn it so that we can roll it out this way. If it sticks a little, you can put some flour on your rolling pin. Do that. Because we put a lot of baking powder in this recipe, it'll rise pretty significantly, so you don't have to worry about rolling the dough out too thin.
You could say it.
Right, now, take your biscuit cutter, and this part, how you cut it out, is important too. Don't twist when you press on the dough, because that will seal the dough and the layers won't be able to rise. So just press down and just lift it out like this. And if you see here, you can see already there are like layers of dough which will open up when you put it in the oven, and it'll make a flaky biscuit. So I'm going to cut the rest of them out and then put them in the oven. Okay, so I finished cutting out all my biscuits, and now I'm going to show you why it's very useful to put this around here. All you have to do is peel it up, and ta-da! Your work surface is clean, minus the little flour on the edges. So here are the biscuits all done. I got about 18 out of this dough amount. It just depends on how thick you roll it and the size of your biscuit cutter. So I got about 18 biscuits. I have 2 trays. We preheated our oven to 500 degrees, but now you're going to lower it to 450 and bake the biscuits for about 18 to 20 minutes until the tops are nice and golden and they're risen and fluffy. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes now. The biscuits are out of the oven. As you can see, they're nice and golden. They're piping hot. You do get some butter seepage out of the biscuits, but that's just because the butter chunks were big. But as you can see, you can see all the nice flaky layers. So just transfer it to a wire rack so they can cool. You can eat them right out of the oven if you want 3rd-degree burns, but not a good idea. Just take them out, have them cool for maybe about 10 minutes or so, and then they'll be ready to eat. Okay, the biscuits have cooled now, so it's time to eat. So I'm going to show you. Ooh, and you can even see, you can even like peel off the layers. How delicious. Alright, I usually serve the biscuits with jam, or you can put honey on it. I've even made those breakfast biscuit sandwiches with the egg and cheese and the bacon that we get from our favorite fast food restaurant. But however else you want to eat it, it will all be good. And I know a little baby over there who's waiting for her biscuits with jam. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If there's any other recipes that you would like us to make, put it in the comments down below, and we'll try to make it happen. Bye!